Hegseth used his most recent worship service to call for overwhelming violence against Iran. More than 2,500 people across Iran and Lebanon have been killed since the U.S. and Israel launched their offensive in the Middle East on February 28th, including hundreds of children. And of course, at least 13 U.S. service members have died since the war began.
I think even worse than that, when people can tell, right? When people can tell that you're trying to weaponize your faith and to get them to follow along and believe in something, and they can spot through the bullshit, then you lose your credibility as a leader from that moment on. Like, you can't successfully be a leader in those people's eyes when they've already spotted you to be a fraud in a sense, right? And I think that's more dangerous when potentially you're thinking that you found this better way to lead, and you're using your faith to say, hey, this is a holy war and this is a divine war, or whatever terminology you want to do to describe the conflict. But yeah, when people see through all of that, and it's like, yeah, this dude's a douchebag guy. I don't want to follow this dude. And now that's why you've got so many people, trying to, sign up to be conscientious objectors. And, it's going to affect the amount of people that will and won't join, like all these different things. So I think that's the bigger concern. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
Today we're going to be getting into another video from Jack Cochiarella. Jack don't quit. He going to keep you entertained, and he going to keep you informed all day, every day. So if y'all haven't, make sure y'all go over there and subscribe. But before you do that, if you haven't already, subscribe to the video, hit the like button. Let me know in the comment section if y'all liking the channel. Obviously, I'm a new YouTuber. It means a lot. It helps me grow, helps me get better at this thing. In this video from Jack, he's kind of going over the pushback that Pete Hegseth is getting from different service members, different military members. He also highlights a little bit of the recent No King's Day protest. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the video.
American troops are now standing up to Pete Hegseth as they continue to lose whatever bit of confidence that they had in him, which I can't imagine is much. And of course, in Pete Hegseth, this opposition, this protest to his illegal orders, they're all leaking out. From troops to generals, the opposition that Hegseth is facing continues to mount, as everyone can see. Nobody should die for Israel, for the Epstein class, or an illegal war that Donald Trump is carrying out to profit. That is what's happening. So, of course, troops will be opposing Hegseth's war, but there's also another added layer that they are publicly pushing back against. And that is Hegseth's insistence that this is a divine war. It is what is being
Hey, real quick, y'all know how I feel about, people trying to weaponize their faith. So I don't appreciate how, for one, Hegseth has been bringing in these extremist pastors, with these crazy views to preach and pray in the Pentagon. I think that's a wild thing to just allow him to get off. But, it's a new day and age. We're just doing whatever the fuck we want to, I guess. But yeah, to try and I identify this as a holy, not a holy war, but but try and weaponize Christianity and your faith to garner support for an illegal war. That's why there's so much rhetoric about not calling it a war, calling it a conflict, calling it an excursion, because it's illegal. We shouldn't have done it, but now we have done it, so everybody has to act like that it was justified to begin with. This is some weird shit. This is bizarro world that we're living in. But Hey, it is what it is.
Exposed in a new report of troops standing up to Hegseth and his illegal activity. And before we get into it, I want to start with the basis of the larger public backlash, with Bernie Sanders perfectly encapsulated at No Kings yesterday.
1 month ago, Trump and his partner, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, started a war with Iran. This war is unconscionable.
Just real quick, like it seems like these days I'm around a lot more conservatives. I don't know if they're all MAGA conservatives, but a lot more conservatives. I'm like a lone voice in a room full of people that are against my point of view. Seeing crowds like this for the No Kings Day protest really, it gives me hope. I'm still a pessimist, but I mean, it does give me hope that I'm not alone just yelling into the darkness. You know what I mean?
Constitutional. Trump did not seek or receive authorization from Congress. This war is a violation of international law. One sovereign nation cannot simply go about attacking another sovereign nation for any reason it chooses.
Period.
This is a war for Trump to profit. This is a war for Netanyahu's Greater Israel Project. This is a war for the Epstein class, for a group of people that sees themselves as above and more powerful than nation states, not governed by the laws of their countries, not governed by international law. That is how Donald Trump views himself. It's certainly how a war criminal like Benjamin Netanyahu views himself. It is certainly also how Pete Hegseth views himself. And these people justify their actions, saying that they are being called on by a higher power. It's what you've seen Republicans say about Trump, that he was saved by.
Real quick, because I can't help but I'm in my own head on it. With the way this presidency has been going so far, and all the different, like, just, I don't know, trampling over the Constitution and our rights and things of that nature, like, from here, where do you go? Like, our Congress, Senate, all the branches, like, have shown that our political system as it is broken. So do you think that there's going to be any real work done to try and fix our democracy as we know it, like via, making amendments to the Constitution, or making sure that a lot of these things that are kind of been left into the gray area, whether or not they're constitutional, because nobody's offering too much pushback? Like, where do we go from here is essentially what I'm saying. Like, Trump can start a war and just not call it a war, and that's cool. We're gonna just let that ride. You can disregard somebody's constitutional rights, and detain them without proper cause, right? You haven't done the proper investigation to ensure that somebody's an illegal immigrant or anything like that. You just got a feeling, you got a gut feeling, like, where is that in the Constitution? How are we going to uphold these things? How are we going to hold people accountable? How are the laws going to change? Like we have been shown that so much of our systems are broken. How do we fix it? And can we fix it? And will we?
By God, and certainly Hegseth also believes that as well. They use this disgusting Christian nationalism that they've spun up to justify all of their horrifying actions, which is pretty ironic given what Pope Leo had to say about Hegseth, Trump, and their war before this report that ties all of these things together. Pope delivers holy warning to Trump in blistering address. Pope Leo condemned Donald Trump's military operation in Iran and warned that God does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war. The Chicago-born pontiff advocated for peace in his Palm Sunday address to worshipers. As Easter approaches, he reminded people that Jesus Christ burns the prayers of those whose hands are full of blood, citing the prophet Isaiah.
You got the Pope speaking out against you. Like, how do devout Christians and Catholics, well, I guess more so Catholics, but yeah, how do you square that circle, right? Like, how do you make that right with your faith? Because so many people are using their faith to justify a lot of the things that they believe in and on the political realm. Yeah, the Pope is coming out against this. So, yeah, how do you... Now, do you go against the Pope because, you know, if you are a Trump supporter and Catholic?
Jesus is the King of Peace who rejects war, whom no one can use to justify war, the Pope said. He does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war, but rejects them. The pontiff expressed concern for a crucified humanity, adding that the church can hear the painful groans of all those who are oppressed by violence and are victims of war. He asked warmongers to have mercy for people impacted by the conflict. Christ, King of Peace, cries out again from his cross, God is love, have mercy, lay down your weapons, remember that you are brothers and sisters. This is a pointed homily from Pope Leo, as U.S. officials have weaponized Christianity in order to justify the war in Iran. After the military began its offensive in Iran alongside Israeli forces on February 28th, numerous commanders reportedly told troops that the operation was God's divine plan. Now, that is not just one.
And if you are that easy manipulated, like, you are not long for this world. I'm sorry. Like, people are going to continue to take advantage of you, and you are going to be the one to suffer for it. Please don't be that easily influenced.
Off reporting that this illegal war is being spun as God's divine plan to justify the crimes that are being committed by Donald Trump, to justify the crimes that are being committed by Pete Hegseth. That is very purposeful and has been done time and time again, of course, in this MAGA movement, from people who are faux believers who only misuse scripture to justify their actions. But it's something that we see a lot out of a guy like Pete Hegseth, which is no wonder he has tried to incorporate that, his Christian nationalism, his Christo-fascism, into his style of leadership, if you can even call it that. And it has received massive pushback, not only because it's disgusting the way Hegseth does it, but it's illegal. And that's why troops are pushing back. Pentagon Pete's Jesus war talk freaks out troops. The defense secretary raised alarm bells among troops after disrupting the military's long-standing practice of separating church and state. Pentagon staffers, current officers, former high-ranking military officials, chaplain corps, and veterans groups revealed the unprecedented monthly worship services led by Pete Hegseth in a Washington Post report published Sunday.
Monthly worship sessions. So this is like an attempt to indoctrinate, man. Like, come on, wake up. And look up his pastors and like some of the guest speakers and things of that nature that he's had come into the Pentagon, and like their previous sermons and when they've gone on podcasts and talk shows and things of that nature and spout their beliefs. Like, some wild shit, man. And these are the kind of people that are just, you know, Secretary of Defense is like, yep, yeah, bring them in here to the Pentagon to talk to the troops.
They expressed concerns that the defense secretary was flouting the Constitution by pushing his evangelical beliefs onto service members. I don't approve of cramming your religious faith down people's throats, and when the top of the chain couches these operations in this hyper-Christian tone, it flies in the face of the freedom of religion that the Constitution enshrines and that our men and women in uniform sign up to defend, one source told the Post. Others said they felt that the 45-year-old Hegseth, a former Fox News host who had reportedly banned press photographers from briefings because they were taking unflattering photos of him, was becoming exclusionary toward troops who disagreed with him. These reported concerns follow. The military has historically approached faith in a more non-denominational way. Hegseth's faith leader, evangelical minister Brooks Pottinger, a former model and woodworker who is due to relocate to Washington, D.C. to lead a new congregation Hegseth has attended, was in hot water this month for calling for the death of a Democrat candidate on a right-wing podcast. Hegseth.
It's a minister wishing death on someone. And yeah, people might say it's out of context because of how him and the other dude said it, but come on. Like, miss me with all that. Like, we know what he meant.
The approach may be bad for overall morale, according to critics. The idea behind faith in the military and in combat, whatever your faith is, even if it's atheistic, the idea of having a greater mission is really, really useful in the military. Iraq and Afghanistan veterans of America spokesperson Lou Elliott told the Post. However, being weaponized is the opposite of what the original intention is, Elliott said. People tune out, and I think that's really, really dangerous. Hegseth used his most recent worship service to call for overwhelming violence against Iran. More than 2,500 people across Iran and Lebanon have been killed since the U.S. and Israel launched their offensive in the Middle East on February 28th, including hundreds of children. And of course, at least 13 U.S. service members have died since the war began.
I think even worse than that, when people can tell, right? When people can tell that you're trying to weaponize your faith and to get them to follow along and believe in something, and they can spot through the bullshit, then you lose your credibility as a leader from that moment on. Like, you can't successfully be a leader in those people's eyes when they've already spotted you to be a fraud, in a sense, right? And I think that's more dangerous when potentially you're thinking that you found this better way to lead, and you're using your faith to say, hey, this is a holy war and this is a divine war, or whatever whatever terminology you want to do to describe the conflict. But yeah, when people see through all of that, then it's like, yeah, this dude's a douchebag. I don't want to follow this dude. And now that's why you got so many people, trying to, sign up to be conscientious objectors. And, it's going to affect the amount of people that will and won't join, like all these different things. So I think that's the bigger concern.
A retired Army Major General Randy Manner told the Post that dozens and dozens of active duty chaplains who don't identify with Hegseth are being marginalized, and some are not included in staff meetings. Throughout the month of attacks on Iran, service members have reported concerning rhetoric from their commanders invoking the idea of a holy war. The Military Religious Freedom Foundation, which advocates for service members' constitutional right to religious freedom, said it received over 200 calls from active duty personnel in the days following the U.S. and Israel's initial strike on February 28th. Military leaders spoke of Armageddon to encourage troops to fight. He urged us all to tell our troops that this was all part of God's divine plan, and he specifically referenced numerous citations out of the book of Revelation referring to Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus Christ. One active duty military member who identified as a Christian told the MRFF. He said that President Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth. So troops are quietly within the Pentagon, but also through this very important reporting, making clear they do not want to tolerate Pete Hegseth and his gross religious dogma being the driving force for committing war crimes. It's just gross. But this is what you see with so many Christian Zionists who believe that Israel must exist so that Jesus can come back and his chosen people, the worst Christians out there, like Carolyn Levitt, like that's not That is not a person who lives the teachings of Christ so that they can be saved. This idea that an idea of Zionism, like this belief system that is inherently violent, is to protect the Jewish people, is laughable. When the biggest proponents, some of them in our country, Christian Zionists, don't believe that Jews should be alive. Like a lot of them, they don't. And they don't think that they'll be saved by Christ. They look at them as less than. And so this idea that Israel is the bastion of freedom and protection for Jews in America and around the world, when in fact it is Netanyahu's job to maintain his power, and the lie about the state of Israel is to make Jews more unsafe. That is what Israel does. And so good on these troops for pushing back against Hegseth, sharing this reporting, because trying to use Pete Hegseth's broken religious ideas as a justification for his war crimes is, one, un-American, two, it's illegal, and three, it's just gross. It's just gross. That is what it is. And it is a lie, like many of the lies that we have continued to be told by this administration, that Bernie Sanders called out again yesterday in his speech.
Now, as the news literally of today reminds us, we have got to stop the out-of-control militarism of the Trump administration, whether it is here at home in cities like Minneapolis and St. Paul or abroad. Let us be honest. The American people were lied to about the war in Vietnam. We were lied to about the war in Iraq. And we are being lied to today about the war in Iran.
We cannot allow the rise and control of these Christian fascists and they're not even Christian. Like, these people don't believe shit. Like, I hate even using that term anymore. There are people who follow the teachings of Christ, but like, I think we've all probably seen one of the man on the street interviews with someone who's claiming to be a Christian and then can excuse everything that Donald Trump does, or says like, okay, well, you know, Jesus was an immigrant. Also, Jesus was a dark Palestinian. He's black. So, okay, with your white as snow portrayal, guys. But they talk about him as an immigrant, and they say, well, you know, Jesus got to go through the legal channels. I don't know. There's so many things I could say. We just can't allow this. These people are such hypocrites. They're such fucking frauds, and they want to hurt us with their ideology. But we cannot allow it. I am certainly not going to. I'm going to call it out every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence.
All right, so that's obviously the end of it for this one. But yeah, y'all let me know. Me personally, you know, I hate the fact that, you know, people are always trying to weaponize Christianity. I hate it because, yeah, and it's going to be ironic. I don't like it because of the fact that a lot of the people that speak about their faith and their Christianity and how much it means to them and how much it's important to them will then immediately go on to tell you how much they hate this specific group of people or immigrants or this, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems like, you know, it's a kind of a way to mask everything. Like, oh, my faith is the most important thing to me and nothing means more to me than my relationship with God. And I hate Jews. I hate immigrants. I hate DEI. I hate trans. I like, you know what I'm saying? Like you'll start with, oh yeah, but it's just my faith. That's just the faith. But yeah, why are you so fucking hateful? Why are you so fucking miserable? And all of your ire and vitriol is against all these minority groups of people. And you lean on your faith as a shield to protect you from all the ridicule which you deserve, right? So, you know, I know that's kind of loaded, but that's the way I see it. And as far as Pete Hegseth is concerned, like, I think, you know, the dude was put into a job that he's severely unqualified for. And, you know, these are the kind of things that you get. Like, I don't think we should keep going with this whole let's shake things up. Let's see how, let's see how it turns out. We'll put Trump in there. I know he doesn't really have a history of being a politician or being involved in politics and warfare and governing and things of that nature, but he's so exciting. Like, fuck that. Like, give me somebody with some sort of experience in all of these roles. I'm sorry. That's what I would rather have. But yeah, y'all let me know. Make sure y'all subscribe, like the video. If you found out something new that you weren't already tracking, share it with your peoples. But yeah, until next time, I'll holla at you.
Hey, why you hating on my energy? I don't think you wanna be my enemy. I pop out, they go wild, so celebrity. Too busy winning, I forgot that I got frenemies.